Hey guys, what's up, and welcome to Women in the Photo Pit, a music photography podcast dedicated to highlighting women concert photographers. And this week I am so psyched because I am interviewing and talking to my friend Tammy, who I have been looking up to ever since I started concert photography. She is incredible, and I was just so honored to have her on the podcast. That being said, this is a long one, so dive in. We talk about life, we talk about being in the industry for a long time, goals, hopes, and dreams, and just general photography tips. So there's a lot packed into this. And it's a really good one. So I hope you guys listen all the way through. If you're interested in watching it, I do have a version of this interview on my YouTube channel. So just go to Boston Schultz and then you'll find it there. That being said, this interview was filmed and meant to be on video, so there are a few things that we say and mention that are actually relating to the video, but I think that the interview and the information that Tammy gives is so useful that I definitely wanted to highlight it on this podcast. So I'm not going to take up too much more of your time because this is a long one, but dive in because it's a good one. Thanks so much for listening. Hey Tammy, thank you so much for joining me today.
Hola.
I'm so excited to have you on here.
I'm so excited. Finally, we get to virtually hang out. I saw you back in January, so this is exciting.
Yeah, one of like the only shows that I've done this year.
And I remember I saw you from the side. I was like, wait, that's Boston. And then you looked over and you said hi. And I'm like, we got to take a selfie. And then that's it. That was our whole hangout.
I'll insert selfie here because that was like literally the only time that we had to chat.
I was
really
so
short.
Excited because we both didn't know we were going to be there. So that's like the best moment.
It's so exciting to like see you and like some other like people at shows because like when we're not in the same city, like and having our paths just randomly cross was so fun and so exciting.
I was so excited. Oh, that was good. That was a fun show.
It was a good one. So, just why don't you introduce yourself for everyone who's watching? Tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got started in the photo video industry.
Well, it was a warm, brisk afternoon in February 5th
you
of
got
1992.
Go for it.
Hi guys, so my name's Tammy Vega. I'm a photographer, videographer, working in the music industry as well as the corporate event work. So we could talk a little bit about that, how those two kind of married together. I've been shooting for about 9 years now, and I am completely full-time. This is my full-blown career, and it's been quite a ride, which is why we're here. I'm excited to talk about it.
Yay! Yeah, So I wanted to give actually you and the people that are watching a little bit of background because I have been following your work for a while. And I don't even know if I said this, but I have been like aware of you in the industry, I think since I started. So
really?
So you were probably in the industry for like 2 years or so.
Right.
By then. But can you talk about like more in detail how you got started in concert and like videography? Like, what drove you to the music industry specifically?
You know, honestly, giving you the whole Cliff Notes version of it, concerts and music were always like, growing up, I had 2 older sisters. All of their kind of allowance money went to makeup and clothes, and I was going to buy band shirts or CDs or whatever. Aww. So it was something that I guess it became more than just like, oh, I love music. Like, it helped me through those shitty years in middle school and high school. So I always found that love for like rock and roll early on. Music, live music, I started going to shows. I'll never forget. 8th grade graduation, I asked my parents, the only graduation present I wanted was to go to Ozfest. That was 2006.
Okay, nice.
Kind of 8th grader, I was like, yeah, Mom, I want to go to Ozfest for my graduation present. Well, for me, it was that time where I was like getting into Disturbed, and those were our hometown boys, and all that stuff, like all of this music that I was relying on. I was like, well, I want to see this live. So, you know, when I got there, there was something that came over me where I was like, I'm home. So that from there concerts left and right. My mom would drop me off, pick me up. Like, I did that whole thing. And the reason I'm explaining all of that is because I started to really daydream about that passion. I was like, I want to be a part of this. I don't know how. I don't know if I'm going to pick up a guitar and start shredding. I don't know if I'm going to, like, I don't know what it's going to be, but it was something that came on, like, it was part of my, like, whole vision so early on. And it's crazy because, you know, you never really think that at that time when you're going to school and doing all that it's actually going to get somewhere. But it was so, like, you know, that fire was so real with me. So high school summers, I would do VIP ticketing at, I think it's called Hollywood Casino Amphitheater now, but it was First Midwest Bank Amphitheater. So it's one of the sheds out here in the southwest suburbs of Chicago. So did all that, and then, sorry if I'm rambling a little bit. If I get off course, Boston, you'd be like, get back to it, Tam. All right?
I love the detail about, like, how people got started, because it's so different for everyone.
Yeah, so, I mean, that was it. I would sit out there, scan my little tickets, and just listen to the music and daydream, like, how am I going to get there? How do I do this? So early on, part of street teams. Can I be on your street team? You know, I just somehow was just starting to connect with people. This was throughout high school. Then the whole pressure of your parents and of life comes at you, or that's not realistic. Go to school. So then I went and did my degree. My whole family are hairstylists, well, my mom's side. So went to school for cosmetology, and that led to me buying a camera for my portfolio. I was like, well, I want to get good photos, you know?
Okay.
And then still going to concerts. Guess what Tammy did one day?
You just brought it with you.
I can close my eyes and remember my boyfriend at the time picked me up, and I look over and he was just standing there, and I'm like, well, I'm just going to take it, see what happens. And it was a thrash metal show. It was Lazarus AD. They were this thrash band out of Kenosha. Amazing. Took that first shot, and that was it, dude. Literally, like, my life just made sense. I was like, yo, dude, I don't know what just happened, but I just got this awesome picture. And from there, like, every show, I would take photos. I went on Amazon, you know, Amazon, because this was like books time. I'd order our books on live photography. I'd go on YouTube. Like, I taught myself everything, and then I'd go out there and practice. I teach myself everything, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm taking all these photos. They look like crap. What do I do? Went back and studied some more. Yeah. So I just kept doing that. And these were thrash metal shows. So it wasn't like standing around shooting. I mean, I'll send you some of these pictures if you want to include right here. Yeah. There's no photo pit. It's stage and crowd. Where was Tammy?
Yeah.
Right there in the middle of, and I think that's why that energy became so, like, I love this, was because my photos would have, like, hands come in here. The guitarist, like, the hair would literally be on my camera. Like, all that stuff was so raw, and I loved it. And I almost broke my gear. I would I'd take apart my camera and have people bring in different lenses to put it all back together and sneak it in. Oh, gosh, those are the good days, man. I loved it. And so from there, that was 9 years ago, and I was so bad at it then, but something stays with you then where you're like, I don't care. I'm going to figure something out, something in music. And that's kind of what sparked it, were those metal shows 9 years ago that I still go to. Yeah.
Dude, metal shows are the best when it comes to, like, the vibe. And I started with, like, metal and rock shows, and it's just, like, they're just so fun. The energy in the room is so nice, but they're so hard to shoot.
Oh,
and,
girl.
Like, starting out with some of that was, like, it definitely helped me. It probably very much helped you.
Yeah, you go into the hardest stuff, and then you get to, like, do something else, and you're like, oh, you're going to give me room to move around in this photo pit? Cool, man. Like, there's not going to be some guy come behind me and just, like, twist my neck and jump on the stage. Oh, cool, I could do this.
Yeah, like, I remember, like, going to my first, like, pop show, like, coverage, and I was like, there's a white light. There's, like, a white light.
It's not red,
like, what?
green.
What is this? And like, after I was editing, I was like, this is so much easier to edit. And that was because I started editing with, like, red and green tones
Yeah.
and just like floods of blues, which probably stuck with me to like this day. I kind of keep those tones and everything, but it's just
I love it because it's all part of your creative process. Like the venue that I
yeah.
started at, Reggie's, had like this, like I think they still have the red lights around the stages and all that. And I'm just,
Yeah.
I don't know, it really does stay with you. You're like, oh, this is what was working for me back then, so I'm gonna keep going with it.
Yeah.
And I did, honestly. Like I came to that moment in my, like, you know, in that what's going to happen next when I graduated cosmetology school. So this was right out of high school, went to cosmetology. That's when all this started happening. And I got a great job downtown Chicago, Gold Coast, salary, benefits. Like I had everything that I wanted out of a high-end salon. And I walked away from that because I was so obsessed and in love with wanting to follow this passion of mine. And it was so hard for a while because, you know, you start to disappoint your parents. Everyone starts to worry about you. Like, why would you do this to go do that?
Yeah.
But being at that age, I was like, I'd rather just see what happens. I can always go back to this. And
yeah.
every day I'm like, man, I don't know how I had that courage to do it then. Because, I mean, those were tough years. Imagine telling your parents, like, hey, you know, all that money you spent to send me to school and to get my apartment and all that stuff. Yeah, you're not going to do anything with that because I want to go, you know, dick around with my camera. And
it worked out for you though. Like all of that paid off.
But you have to be so, like, you have to know that you're doing it for that right reason. You know, people will say like, oh, it's different from you, you don't understand. But I always knew, like, I didn't want to go to rock shows with my camera because I wanted to be around rock stars and all that stuff. I did it because it was literally what kept me breathing and living for so long, that was my outlet. And I knew that then. I was like, I'm not doing this to try and live a cool rock star life. I'm trying to do this to, you know, keep living.
To be you.
Yeah. The people that I was around at that salon, like I don't speak bad about it, but it was so, like, you know, the experience I had was so clock in, clock out, let's go have beers, I can't wait for the weekend kind of a vibe. Maybe it was just that. I'm not bad talking salons because I'm still a hairstylist, but something I had to experience that moment to be like, no, baby girl, you're gonna follow this and you're gonna figure it out. And girl, I had no connections, I had no experience. I just figured it out. And that's one of the biggest things, that when people are like, well, how do you find your passion or how do you know what to do? It's like you have to be willing to be risking, you know, so many things in order to get to where you want to be. It's not just like, oh, I want to be a photographer, I'm just going to wake up one day and be good at this. It takes so much time. So, I mean, this was almost 10 years ago. It's a ride, all right, but it's worth it.
Yeah, it definitely takes work. I love that. I love hearing everyone's like background and how they started, because like I said, like everyone starts different. And also like I think that's the biggest question when people get into this industry of like, how do I get started? How do I go to my first show?
Right.
And it's just like, you kind of just like figure it out. You go to your first show. That's how you get started.
Yeah. You
and
show up. It's all about showing up.
Showing up. Yeah.
Showing up. And I just like, I talk about this too. It's like being bad at it and being okay with being like, well, yeah, I might be not that good right now, but I'm just starting out. This isn't all, you know, I have room to grow. And people are so hard on themselves because they're like, well, I'm not good enough. I'm not as good as this person. It's like, yo, that person's been at it for 10, 15, 20, whatever plus years. Like, that's the biggest thing that a lot of people that get into this, they start to think that they're not as good as so-and-so and they'll never get to do this or do that. It's like everyone has their story and their journey and how it's going to unfold for you, for me, for everyone. You know, there's be times where you'll race forward and, you know, someone else will stay behind, and then you'll kind of hit a plateau, and then someone else, like everyone, there's so much room for like everyone out here to do great things. But if you sit and like compare yourself or think that you're not good enough, then you're never going to break like through that whole mindset. You'll stay there. Because I did that for a while. I was like, ooh, I'm not good. No one likes me, blah, blah, blah. And it stalled me from going forward. But it was a growing process for me.
Yeah. I mean, that's what happened to me when I moved to LA. I was like, well, there's so many great people out here.
You start to doubt yourself, and then nothing happens, and you're like, well, why did nothing happen? It's like, well, because you didn't do anything. So You gotta keep moving.
It's a cycle. It's
It
literally
really
a cycle.
is. And you have to like keep growing, keep going, keep like doing what you can to like, I always say, shed a different layer of yourself. You get to a certain point and you're like, great, I love this. You look in the mirror and you say, I have these goals now. What is it going to take for me to get to that next level? All right, I gotta, you start to really reflect on what you need to change in order to get to that place. And that's something that helps me all the time, is to be okay with like, constantly recreating yourself, constantly putting in that time to yourself. Think of like, companies out there. You can't look at a company that was out 20, 50 years ago and they're still the same logo, the same everything. No, you have to constantly keep recreating yourself.
Yeah.
And you have to look at yourself that way, because this is what you're out here to do. You're here to, be a business and do all that stuff. So that's something that I learned early on, and I love to share all this stuff because it's a whole world. We got so many opportunities out here.
I love it. We really do. So we're going to jump back to the questions. I've only asked you like one question.
I know, I'm sorry.
You're just like going up. I'm not.
You know what? If someone wants to
it.
sit and watch all of this, welcome to the party. If you don't, then people can skip around.
Just play us in the background. You got nothing else to do, right?
Yeah, you're in quarantine. Go for a walk. Listen, that'll be good. Go ahead.
Okay.
Anyways, I was born on a Wednesday.
Cool. Okay. Also, my cat is just like sitting over here munching on her cat grass, and it's like,
pay attention to me.
Like, I don't know if this is gonna come through on the video that she's just like quietly munching. I'm like,
it's real life, baby girl.
This is really what's happening on our Friday night here.
Right? Seriously.
I love it.
I love it. Wouldn't want to be anywhere else.
It's beautiful. It's great. Yeah, we can't. We can't go anywhere.
So we got all the time in the world. Go on.
Question time. Okay, so are you a Nikon, Canon, Sony shooter, or something else?
I'm an iPhone shooter. Just kidding. No, hey, I've used my iPhone for great content, but no, I shoot all of my photography right now on my Nikon, and all of my video on Sony. So I have a little love affair going there, because I can't like let go of my Nikon. I just, whatever works. And right now that is what I use.
Yeah. Is it, I feel like that's really hard to have two separate kinds of gear. How does that work?
See, I've just fully committed my Sony. Like right now, my Sony is just what I use for my videography. Mm-hmm. So I have that whole setup that I don't try and like, if I'm doing video, then I'm set up with my gimbal. I'm set up. Everything's leveled out. So I'm not switching lenses a lot. I'm not really doing much. So it's weird, because I've been doing a lot more video work lately than photo work. But my Nikon has just been my baby forever. So I think it's just hard right now to fully transition to Sony. I don't know what's going to happen. Yeah. I don't want people to look back and be like, you left the Nikon people. And be like, whoa, right now, 2020, this is what's working. And I love it. So
nice.
Yeah.
So you said that you don't switch lenses a lot. What are your
when I'm doing videography, I kind of just have something that's working for me. It also depends on what I'm doing. If I'm doing some behind the scenes work, then I'll stick with one lens. Live, everything kind of switches, and that's why I have to be like on top of my game throughout whatever whatever event or concert and stuff I'm doing. So
cool.
So yeah.
Okay, so can you describe your style for us in 3 words?
My style? Oh, that's, you know what? This stumps me. Everything that I do, I think is just, in this moment right now, I just like that whole rawness. I love doing fly on the wall stuff. I love that kind of energy, that rawness that you can't recreate. To me, that is like, ooh, I get chills thinking about it. Oh, wow, back in the day when my style was first starting out, I was figuring everything out. It was like black and white and reds and raw. So it's always changing. And I love that, because it goes back to the whole thing of growth. And there was a time where I was I kind of am there now where I was really bright colors and all of that was working for me. So I think for me, it's hard to pinpoint exactly because I'm also so open to working with so many genres, and different genres require different editing and different styles. When I was out doing stuff with like Paul Anka, I'm not going to do like crazy contrasty black and white with my red and all that stuff that I would do for a rock show. I have very crisp, clean, beautiful images, or so it always varies on what kind of project I'm working. As also too with corporate world, I can't do too much editing. They want crisp photos. They want it to just be a speaker looking nice, logo. Like there's so many different versions of what I have to do, and it works for me.
So I love that because I interviewed another woman named Annabelle, and she was talking about how when she does photography, like her photography is for her clients.
Right.
Like like
that's the word. She's better at saying it. I'm like, Annabelle, it depends on my client. Depends on client. There you go.
I love it.
Next question. I'm kidding.
Moving on. But yeah, like your style, like you can have a style and like what you like kind of do creatively, but
right.
At the same time, like every time you work with someone, you have to like get to know them and know what they want and like
absolutely.
Yeah, so it really does depend. I love that you highlighted that, and I love that your kind of like vibe that you go for is the realness and stuff, because you were talking about like what speaks to you at shows, and that definitely makes sense.
Yeah, that's that I don't know. I used to do a lot of like promotional stuff. I still do it. Like if I'm with a client that I've been working with for a long time, I'm comfortable. I know how to capture what they want. But for me, it's that fly on the wall and being in the studio and not being just kind of those real intimate moments that you can't recreate are like documentary photojournalism. Like I love all that stuff. That's my game, girl.
Same. Okay, cool. So going into like I love this question, but like what is like your most favorite show that you've ever photographed?
Oh, girl.
On the spot.
That's another one. I know that I should have like a clear answer, but I think everything I'm just that type of person where I will have moments that I bring back with me, whether it's a show with a local band and there's a few people there, or I'm doing an arena show. I just like to bring back with me favorite parts of that tie in with my purpose and my why. Like there have been many times where I'm being honest with you, I'm pinching myself, like, how did I get here? How am I here? And those to me are my favorite moments. And that goes as well with like the bucket list shows. People ask me, where are the bucket list shows? My focus, and this is what works for me, it's not like, oh, I want to photograph so-and-so here and so-and-so at this festival. To me, it's bucket list like moments that I want to have. Because there's nothing better than like being, all right, you set your goals on paper and you say, I want to do this. Like those are to me the experiences and the moments that I want to cross off. And I think in that way, all the genres that I've been able to work with, it makes it that much sweeter. Like I got to go on a full tour and it was with Poison. Like, I got to do this and that and it was with this artist. Those are the moments and the things that drive me and that make me like want to work towards. So in that whole both favorite show, bucket list stuff, like I tie in a passion and a purpose, and working with people that inspire you, that not only have you like, oh, you're just our photographer, but make you feel like you're, an important piece of what is happening with them, either on stage or on the road. So, a lot of things come up to me. I photographing Pearl Jam. That's the band that saved my life growing up. So when you kind of have that full circle moment, it's hard to express how that feels when you're like, this dude and this music, Eddie Vedder's music, like the words he would write, Pearl Jam's music. It was what, got me through those days in high school where people were shitty and you would go home because you knew Pearl Jam was going to be there and you just forget everything about it. And when you're standing there, it was in Memphis 2015, 2015. And I'm standing there and you're, taking photos of the guy who got you through all those days, and the band and the music and everything. Those are the moments that you remember. It's not just like, yeah, Pearl Jam, I love them. It was like, this means more to me because I've always been a fan first, and I'll never forget that.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so I have a question, because you were just talking about like how you started kind of like as a fan and talking about like being a fan of the music that you photographed.
Right.
And I want to ask you whether or not you've like dealt with anyone being like rude or weird to you for like dancing in the pit, singing along in the pit, like being a fan in the pit. Not saying that you've ever acted like unprofessional.
Right,
like,
right. Having a moment. Having a moment. Oh my gosh. Yeah, people are always gonna say things. There's people that show up to the pit and they're just like angry, and they're like, oh, I'm here to do this, this, and that move, and are rude, and you're just like, carry on, man, whatever you gotta do. Like, unless there's I've seen people who are in the pit with like rocking out and doing this and that, and sure, I'm like, excuse me, like, I get it. If you want to do that, move over.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I just am myself. I'll be out on the road with Poison, and I'll just start feeling, and I see the show every night, you know? And I'll start, oh my God, I'm skinny pop. And I'm just like, yeah, I just want to have a moment and dance for a quick second. And I just forget that I'm working. Absolutely. I am just who I am. I mean, unless I'm like, doing a, circle headbang in the middle of the pit and some guy's trying to take a photo, then yeah, tell me to F off. But if I'm just kind of like, all right, oh yeah, go back to shooting. Absolutely. Yeah. I am a weirdo. I will get lost in the moment, and if I'm not like in anyone's way, then whatever. It's just, I'm here. I love what I do. This is what you're breathing and living, and you're in that moment. And if you get lost in it, whatever. That's just my opinion. I know people are so like, oh, what are you doing? Singing a couple lyrics of Cannibal Corpse. Leave me alone.
I love that, because like I definitely have moments when I'm shooting a band and I'm just like rocking out.
I start feeling it.
Yeah, and like I have this Tom Petty poster behind me. This was a shot that I took.
Let me move my screen so I could see it.
I took this shot at a festival where I was like jamming out when I was in the pit. I was so excited about being there. We had plenty of room, huge pit. And I was just like kind of dancing along. And like he looked down.
Someone had something to say?
Yeah. Tom Petty looked down at me, laughed.
Oh yeah.
And I took this shot. And like it was
you were being you authentically, you were being you, and you caught a beautiful moment because of that. I love it.
The thing that I love about that is like it was such a good moment for me, but also to like just keep in mind that like when you're in the pit and you just look so grumpy and you're judging other people in the pit, like the musicians don't want to see that either.
It's also, I mean, for me, it's like, worry about yourself, man. Like, I know how you feel. I've heard oh my God, I've heard all of it. And I think at the end of the day, it's like I said, unless you're in somebody's way, unless you're being rude, unless there's like, whoever's watched this, I'm sure photo pit etiquette. You have to be respectful of who's around you, the space and everything. But if people are that concerned with you having a moment, they don't know what this means to you. You don't know if this is someone's first show. You don't know if someone, everyone has their story. So being aware of that, like, cool. Focus on what you're there to do. And if you want to be cranky and get your shots and walk away, great. But for me, I know the connections that I've made in photo pits have been when someone just looks like they're approachable and they're just happy to be there. Great. Mm-hmm. Those are the connections I want. Not the guy that's staring, side-eyeing me, or the girl, whatever, girl, guy, side-eyeing, and like, you're not someone that I want to hang out with then. I don't really, or, talk to then, or network with. And
I 100% agree. And I want to add that, like, the people that are doing the side-eyeing and the judging are not the people that are doing well in the industry. Because, it's always like the attitude. You need to have like a good attitude. You want to be fun to be around, regardless. So like, trust me, the people that are doing the like rudeness are not the people that you want to be taking their consideration or whatever.
Whew, man, if there's anything that anyone who's watching this, if they're still watching, they're like, these two are
We're
rambling.
going for hours.
These two are rambling. Get to the point. No, I mean, if there's anything that anyone can take out of this, it's that things, the big moments that you're working hard towards, the big shows, whatever goals you have, everyone has their different set of goals. It has absolutely everything to do with who you are as a person, your character. I mean, I always tell people before, yes, you can learn your craft, you can spend hours, hone that, lock it in, but until you're willing to work on yourself, the person that you are, you're gonna hit a stop somewhere along the way, because it takes so much work to become the person that, like you said, people want to be around. People want to work with good people, and that is something that I tell people all the time. All the time I preach it. I'm like, good, you're great. You know, you're doing what you need to do to be you have a great eye, you have great this. You need to work on your character building. You have to work on who you are you holding yourself accountable for the things you say you're going to do? Are you showing up on time? Are you doing this, and that? All that stuff matters, because it all combines together to get further ahead. And I'll have conversations with people, and they'll, of course they'll get the, oh, well, must be easy for you to say, you're so outgoing and you're this, and you're able to talk to anyone and blah, blah, blah. Girl, I can bring up, I can ask people who knew me 5-10 years ago. I was so quiet. I had no eye contact. I was shy. I was soft-spoken. I was not the person that you see today. I knew that the things that I needed to do to get me forward in my career was to work on that self, work on being able to hold a conversation, work on, all the things that truly do matter to get, to a point that I've been very blessed to be at. I'm not trying to be like, oh, I'm amazing, my life's great, I got all this shit going for me. But I know all the things that all the time that I put into myself, not all of this stuff, myself. Yeah. That's the stuff that got me. That's why I was able to network and connect with all these different types of people, was because I was willing to look at myself and be like, ooh, yeah, you're doing this wrong. Yeah, like look in the mirror and actually be like, well, sometimes you could be rude in the pit, so figure that out. Let's work on that. Oh, you're this much, you're that, you're this. And it takes so much honesty and so much like self-awareness to look at yourself and be like, this is why I'm not getting ahead. This is why I'm not where I want to be. This is why I feel this way. This is why my self-esteem is like this, is because you have to be honest with yourself. And that is something that I don't think a lot of people take time to work on, because they're so like consumed by being better and doing this and being a better this, that you don't realize how much this matters. Yeah. And that was something that I learned very early on, was that if you want to be like who you visualize yourself to be, and the things that you want to do require you to put in the work on yourself to get there. And I can go on and on for hours about that stuff, because I'll get told that, like I said, you're this, you're that, you're outgoing and blah, blah, blah. It's like, I wasn't always this person that can walk in and carry a conversation. Yeah. I had to be uncomfortable for a long time to do that. Yeah. And
it's a habit that you have to form. Like you just need to work on it. Yeah.
You have to. And that's something that's so important. And I really, like, if anyone is wanting to learn how to get where they want or break into whatever career passion they have, is to take the time to like work on yourself, on who you are as a person. Who you were yesterday, last week, last year does not have to define who you are today. You can't, I'll laugh when I'll hear like, so-and-so said that you were this, this, and that. And I'm like, oh, when I knew them 4 or 5 years ago, like, absolutely not. I am a completely different person, honestly, Boston, than I was when I got off a plane from Vegas, where I was supposed to be living right now, and came back to Chicago. Like, I had to shed another layer of myself in order to accept what is happening in the world right now and use this time to keep moving forward. Yeah. So I just feel like people try and be so hard on themselves and define themselves by who they were, and they don't want to just be like, I don't have to be that person. Yeah, I might have treated these people bad sometime, but I can work on being better.
Yeah.
And doing better. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's that?
everyone can always work on being better, like working on yourself. Like only so much about this is like your eye, and a lot of this is like about your connections. How do you get connections? By being nice and talking to people.
Dude, seriously. Like that's the thing for people who are starting out, is what I say. You, especially nowadays, I mean, this was still 9 years ago, so it wasn't really, Instagram was around, but it was more about like Facebook and tagging on Facebook. So what I used to do, I used to shoot a local show. Usually it was always thrash metal bands or death metal bands, all that stuff. Like, I mean, those heavy shows. And I wouldn't just take the photos, go home and edit. I'd make it a point to find a merch guy, a sound guy, a TM, anyone that had a connection with the band, and say, hey, what's up? My name's Tammy. Here's my card. I took photos of the show tonight. I could email you the link or blah, blah, blah. You make a connection, because nothing is going to beat that physical interaction of introducing yourself to someone, giving them the card, whether they throw it away in the bathroom or they never look at it again, that's up to them. But more times than not, they come back around, or you see them again and you're like, hey, what's up? I took photos of you guys last time you were in Chicago. Oh, right, yeah. Those are, people remember that stuff because no one does it anymore. Yeah. They'll go on Facebook and Instagram, they'll post the cool photos, and you'll never know who whatever Instagram name handle you have, they'll never know who that person is, because you don't know what, you can't recognize the face. So that's a big one. I mean, that was a game changer for me, because people were like, that's right, I remember you. What's up? You want an Alexis? And I'm like, I mean, sure, I'll have it. I mean, sure, I'll take a couple photos and see, no big deal. Meanwhile, you're like, yeah, Testament wants me to take photos.
So you brought up Poison before, and I wanted to ask, does Bret Michaels say party as much in person that he does on stage? Because it's a lot of party on stage.
I love it though. His presence is so great, because he's all of the party. We're gonna party backstage. Oh, dude, Bret is just such a cool dude, man. But I appreciate and love him for who he is, because he is literally what you see on stage is what you see all day. Aww. And he is the most he's the sweetest dude ever. He really is. And I admire people who are just themselves. I mean, I'm all about it, is being who you are. So yeah, I mean, it is, I don't know. He is who he is. Like, you can't replicate that guy. And I love that.
It's so funny, because I think the last time I saw him, we were counting, because we thought it was so funny that he said party on stage 30 times.
I know all the dialogue. We're gonna get here, we're gonna party, it's gonna be a party. I love it.
And I was just like, dude, this guy is hyped to party all the time. And I just thought it was so funny. So I was like,
and he has that
really with him. She should know.
Dude, no, Bret has that cool, very energetic, uplifting energy, and I love that, because it, days on tour, they get tough, they're hard, and when you can work with people that are, they also genuinely love it, I mean, to me, it's great, because you can just feel that love and energy, and it's rolling all day with the band and our crew. It's an awesome, we have an awesome band and crew out there, and I've been so grateful and blessed that my crazy universe and stars aligned to be out with them. So yeah, he's awesome.
Okay, so that kind of leads into my question of you've done so much amazing stuff with big rock stars. So Poison, you've done stuff with Kiss, Tom Keifer of Cinderella, for people that don't know Tom Keifer in his solo career. Amazing. And then also Cheap Trick. So so much cool stuff, but how on earth did you get started in that? Was that just connections? How?
Like we talked, girl, it all goes back to to your connections, who you're networking with, who you are as a person. So when this is we're gonna backtrack a little bit, so you kind of quickly, because I can quickly get to a point, right? So I didn't actually really even talk about it, and this is a huge part of my career. So once we went back, we talked about how I was in hair school, left, the job that I was offered, to pretty much just, I lied to my parents for about a month, telling them that I was going to work, and I would wander around downtown with my camera and then go to shows. But part of the shows that I was going to, I'm very observant, and I'll like try and figure out a way to make a connection. And FM Entertainment was who was promoting and putting up all these shows. Like I'm going to all these metal shows. Who's setting these up? And it was FM Entertainment was Frank Masselers. So Frank, I've kind of knew already from he used to manage my boyfriend at the time's band, but I never really talked to him. But once I started getting more into it, whenever I would see him, I'd find the promoter and I'd be like, "Hey Frank, what's up? Like, you know, if you ever need any help with anything, let me know." And he'd be like, "Okay, yeah, enjoy the show. Peace out, weirdo." And then I'd see him at another show. "Frank, what's up, man? If you ever need any help, I'm your girl." This was for I don't even know how long, like a year maybe. And I just kept making that introduction. Frank ends up working, he was the events director at a stadium out here in Chicago. So he was a talent buyer and the events director. He got this awesome promotion. Who did he call when they said he could bring an intern on? Hello. Called me and he was like, "Hey, do you want to come meet we met for coffee." And we just started talking. And this is something that I am so grateful for him for giving me this opportunity, because with him, I interned. I worked for free for years, Boston, years. And this wasn't photography. It has nothing to do with photography now. This was just getting my foot in the door to the music industry. Yeah. So with him, I got hands-on learning through the entire like world behind the scenes. And when I tell you that I did every odds and end job that is involved with being at a concert, I would set up hospitality. I'd go pick the band up from the airport, drive them to the hotel. I would just stand around and be a production assistant. I'd bring ice to the buses. I'd do every single job, and I did it to the best of my ability. I didn't care if I was working for free. I didn't care that I was just going to stand around all day and maybe have one task. I was just locked and loaded, ready to be the best version that I could be when I was arriving there. And through doing all of that, I learned hands-on what being behind the scenes at a show involved. I would advance shows for him. I would, answer the phones for him. So I started doing a lot of the connections when the agents would call. I'd be like, "Hello, Frank Master's office. Oh, hey, Jim at Paradise. I'll direct you to him." So I started making that first introduction with the agents when they started calling. Yeah. And the reason I'm talking about all this is because at that time, I was you kind of start to feel like, "Oh my God, I'm putting in all this work. It's not getting me anywhere." And then you start to, you look back now and I'm like, "Oh my goodness," because of that, because I would go and buy bus stock and I did it in like under 45 minutes, and the TM remembered me. I ended up seeing this TM when I would work with the band years down the road, and they were like, "I remember you used to do this for us back then." All of those little things that I would do when I thought no one cared or no one was watching, it had everything to do to set me up for success later on. And it still blows my mind that, that all that time, all those connections, all that networking I did then is what eventually led for everything else to become a reality, for my career to blossom. It had to do with, "Hey, what's up? Do you have any rubber bands?" "Oh, rubber bands. Yes, I'll be right back. Here's 19 different colors. What do you need?" Like, you go above and beyond. People remember that person. People remember who is actually that energy and that drive you have. It makes all the difference. It really does. One thing that I'm forever grateful for Frank is that this wasn't like "Hey, let's do this. I'm going to show you how to do this." Like, this guy who I'm still so close with, he is one of the closest people I have in my life. He would always be like, "I'll be your GPS." He's like, "I'm not going to fucking drive the car for you." Excuse my French. He's like, "I'll tell you what to do. I'll open all the doors." He said, "But it's going to be up to you to either go for it or whatever, or walk away." Yeah. And through that, he would push me to places that I was so uncomfortable. Like, what do you mean? He's like, "There's so-and-so. Go introduce yourself if you want." And I'm like, "What, Frank, what do I do?" And he'd walk away. But I grew so much in those 4 years, because I'd be like, "Hey, what's up? I'm Tammy. I'm starting on photography." And you just start to you get uncomfortable for a while, and then eventually you're like, hey, what's up? Hey, yeah, Tammy, how's it going? Here's my card. You know, if you ever need any assistance behind a shoot, like you just get so much better at what felt like the worst thing in the world for a while. But everything you do in life has to feel uncomfortable for a while, because if you're not taking those risks, if you're not feeling uncomfortable opening yourself up to these people and networking, then you could have just been another person putting ice on the bus, because I could have just been that. But I was like, do you guys need anything else? Oh my God, yeah, absolutely. Give me 1 second. I'm going to take care of this. Oh, here's this that you asked for. Those little things that I did that I went out of my way for, it mattered. And from there, I, you know, you can look at that time as a failure, because he was like, you know, kind of polishing me up to be a talent buyer and work in the business side of music. And my love for photography was so like, it was just so, I need to do this. I don't care. I'll walk away from this. I walked away from all of that knowledge, all of that advancing, booking, all of that business side of it to continue to pursue what I do now. And that's not easy when you have to look someone in the eye who believed in you, who helped you, who guided you for so long, and tell them like, I don't know if this feels like you wasted your time or not, but I'm going to pack up, move to Nashville to pursue, you know, my little camera thing that I got going on. It was tough, but I'm such a big person. I'm like, you know, and clearly this shows from walking away from the salon. I was like, I need to try and do this now. This was in 2014. I was like, I don't know. I feel bad, but I can't let that hold me back from not at least trying. So I moved to Nashville, literally had no money. Me and my best friend moved down there. I was like, this is where I need to be. I don't know why, dude. Like that calling, that gut instinct, like listen to it. Like always listen to it. Moved down there and started again from scratch, make new connections, make new introductions. So I got a job at the Hard Rock Cafe, and I was a hostess in the morning, and every night, local show here, card, what's up, do my thing all over again. And I told myself, when I was driving down there, you would reflect on, what am I doing? I don't have a job. Why am I driving 7 hours away from Chicago? Like, start to panic. You start to be like, should I turn the car around? Like, what, you know, you have that time to really be like, no, this feels right. If you go out there and you don't get on tour and you don't, you know, get somewhere, if you don't do that in a year, then baby girl will turn right back around and we'll figure something out in Chicago. But you give yourself at least a year to try to do whatever it takes to do or to get to where you want to be, which was on tour. And I was like, all right, it's go time. And that was my schedule every day. Hostess, open up the Hard Rock, leave at 2 or 3, and then go home, change, get my gear, and go out there. And the reason I'm saying all this is because from doing that, I ended up networking with a few people that were playing for Tom Keifer, his band. So a weird way of how that all tied in, Tom was looking for a videographer to take on tour. These guys were kind of like, well, I mean, there's this chick, whatever, she's got some stuff. Like, my name was already kind of thrown in there a little bit. He didn't really think about it. The guy, Frank, that I worked with in Chicago, one of his companies was designing the website for Tom. It was my buddy Chris at FM Imagery, or Vision Designs. He does both. So Tom ended up asking him, like, well, do you know anyone who would be willing to come out on the road with me? Frank, who I worked with for years in Chicago, Tom hears my name from different places. Frank calls me and he's like, hey, Tom Keifer might be calling you. I don't know, I guess he wants a photographer or something. I sent him your stuff, so yeah, it's figured out. Bye, love you. You know, like same way Frank is. Like, I'm not gonna shoot glitter in the air and be like, yes, hire her. He was just like, gave him your info, figured out, dude, love you. So that I know I go so into depth about everything because everything that you do in your career and in your life aligns for your moment. This was something that I had to do everything before, all those years, everything that I did before was preparing me for that phone call of me sitting in my apartment wondering if Tom was going to call me. And mind you, I had never shot him before. I never worked with him. I didn't even know him. And here I am, like, staring at my phone like, oh God, is he gonna call? Is he not gonna call? What's happening? The phone rings, and from that moment, like I can literally close my eyes. I know everything, that I remember how the air felt. I remember everything. And he calls, and that was it. I talked to him. He was looking for a videographer. I didn't do video here. I was all photography at this time. Uh-huh. And that's when, we started talking, kind of opening up the conversation. He's like, well, I love your photo stuff, but, it's really great. You have a great eye. Tom's very chill. He's like, but I'm kind of looking for a videographer. So, and in my heart, like my whole world stopped, dude. And I was like, should I lie? Just say yes and figure it out, or should I just be honest? And I was like, you know what, dude? Honesty is key. Just tell the truth, and then if he decides to work with you, great. If not, then your time will come. Yeah. Sat there, and I was like, listen, Tom, I love you. No. This is before I actually knew him. So I was like, listen, bud, would love to. Did I just say I love you? Tom, I love you. Take me on tour. No, I was like, listen, Tom, I would love to work with you. I do love him and Savannah, and that we'll get to that. I was like, I would love to work with you, man, but I'm not a videographer. I'm only a photographer. I'm really sorry to, I don't know if no one mentioned that. I just don't want to waste your time and continue talking. And he was like, well, I mean, I really love your stuff. He's like, will you be willing? He's like, does your camera take video? And I was like, well, yeah, but, and he's like, all right, can you try? And I'm like, yeah, I mean, I've never, and he's like, I don't care. He's like, just try. He's like, if anything, then we'll have some cool photos, but if you could just try, that's all I'm asking. And I was like, I will do my absolute best to, do what I do with photography and do video, but I just want you to know, like, I have no experience. And he's like, yeah, that's no problem. He's like, all right, I'm going to pass you over to Savannah, his wife, and she'll get your info for the flight. And I'm like, oh, yeah, all right, cool. So, what dates are you looking into? I'll check. And he's like, oh, no one told you. He's like, we're leaving in a couple hours. Can you meet us at the airport?
Oh, my God.
And I'm like, I'm sitting in my pajamas, all like gross. And I'm like, oh, 2 hours. Yeah. And meanwhile, I'm like getting like my gear. I'm like plugging in charts. I was like, oh, yeah, I mean, 2 hours. That's no big deal. And I'm like looking for my stuff. I'm like in a panic. Yeah. 2 hours later, Boston, I was at Nashville Airport meeting all of them for the first time, going to my first gig.
Oh, my goodness.
You know what the craziest part of all this is? I am so big on visualizing all of that. I'm so, like, that is something that I tell people to do as well, is to visualize it. That everything that happened on that, like, in that moment, like, I was already prepared for, man. I visualized myself getting my gear on an airplane and getting on my first tour bus and sleeping in the bunk for the first time, that when it all became real, I was like, oh my God, this is why, you do that. Because when it happens, you're like, I felt this moment in my whole, I've already felt this moment. And it was just, it's something that I'll never forget, that story. And I tell people that, Tom gave me my break. He gave me my chance. And he has been like the most incredible person, because working with him isn't just like, oh yeah, do this, do that. Like whenever I'm out on the road with him, he goes out of his way to say, oh, hey, so-and-so, let me introduce you to Tammy. She's my, she's our photographer, a videographer. Like he'll make connections for me. And a lot of people don't do that, and he's always been that person. And that's how everything else aligned. You see how you start to see the how everything kind of goes, because all these years you're like, what am I doing? And then you look now and you're like, oh, quit school to work for free, to make those connections, to move to Nashville, to have Frank put in a good word because Tom works with him. And then from there is how I met Gino and Larry. Larry's the guy who does all of the cruises. Yeah. From Tom, Gino is Larry's right-hand man, and I was out on the road with Gino. So that's how that happened. And guess what Larry also does? He's out on the road with Poison. Who did, do you see what I mean here? Yeah. I know it's a lot of information, but this is why your connections and who you're, don't burn bridges. You never know who you're going to meet along the way. And this is an example of how everything aligned, you know. It didn't just one day Tom was like, yo, what's up? You want to go on the road? And I was like, yo, what up? Yeah, I'll see you at the airport. All right, cool, let's go. Like, it didn't happen like that.
It was years of going into it.
Years, girl, like years and years of it. And yeah, that's how that story came. I mean,
oh my goodness.
It might be a lot, but there might be some people that want to know this, because I've never really, you know, unless you know me personally, like a lot of people don't know how all of this kind of came about. So this is, I like doing this, because this is,
no,
even me, I'm
I
like,
love,
whoa, what?
I love all of this, but I am now slightly considering the fact that this might be a part 1 and a part 2 video.
Well,
because,
I'm sorry, I don't know.
No, like this.
Perdón, si quieres también lo podemos hacer en español, mija. Yo puedo.
I don't know what any of that means.
Spanish version. I said, if you want, we can also do a Spanish version.
Perfect. Thank you.
Like, oh my God,
I would appreciate it, but you also have to say my parts.
Yeah.
No,
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, all of this, I think, this is really the reason I wanted to do this podcast. I wanted to share stories. I keep saying podcast. This is really a YouTube interview,
YouTube,
whatever.
Instagram clips. We'll get on Twitch now.
We're on everything.
Girl, Twitch, Snap, TikTok, all of it. We'll just. Can you imagine how many TikToks this would be? Like 19,000.
This would be so many. But like, I really wanted to share stories. Like, I wanted to talk about this because
I know, and I'm cutting the fat out of a lot of stuff, but
but like a lot of, and this kind of goes back to what I've said kind of off camera, is I felt for a while a lot of like women's stories were not being told.
Yeah.
And I love the idea of like having the stories of like how, you know, these incredible women have made these connections, how they've gotten on tour, how they've done all of this like amazing successful stuff. So I love that you're talking about it. And no, that's exactly the reason why I started doing this, because like, I personally love these stories. Like, this is so much fun. But I have to ask, what year was that tour? Do you remember?
That was October of 2014.
Yeah. I'm thinking that the show that I photographed of Tom, I'm pretty sure you were at.
Which one? Where? Were you in New York at the time?
I was in New York at the time. And it was like, I think it was like B.B. King's Blues Club.
I wasn't at that one.
You weren't?
Okay. I wasn't at that one. No, I did. I remember they love those BB King's days, I think. Yeah. It's like a cool venue, right?
Yeah.
Oh, man. No, I didn't do those ones. I see with Tom, like people think like I tour with him because he does a lot of like weekend, like I think this summer was going to be one of the full tours that he'll actually, well, if it happens, I don't know what's happening anymore. I'm just the present moment. But I would do like miscellaneous dates out with him where it'd be like a Sunday or a Thursday through Sunday tours. It's kind of like the runs that they would have.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
But yeah, I did a lot of like the West Coast dates with him, and the ones I would do out that way would be like M3 or like so like so those ones.
Gotcha. But, no, he was he has a soft spot in my heart. Not that he knows anything about me or who I am, but the fact that he was one of the first shows that I photographed under a press pass. So
you'll never forget that.
I was astounded that I got the press pass. There was no pit at that show, so I, showed up bright and early. I was like the 5th person in, so I could be front row and everything. Loved the show. Thought that I got amazing shots from them. Shared them on social media, and I think he shared like 2 or 3 of my pictures, and it was just like. Heaven's gates were open and everything was like singing hallelujah.
That.
Like it was like this really.
I know that feeling.
Moment. Yeah. So like,
girl, I love that. And Tom is very like when you know how to photograph him, like that shit. I'm telling you, like he really looked at those and admired them and took time to observe. Not just like, oh, cool, I look cool. Like Tom is he looks into the details, and for him to share like. I mean, I know you're amazing, so I just love to hear that moment because we all know what that feels like. It's a great moment. Yeah. it's something that stays with you, and you're like, wow, someone like this cares and appreciates what I'm doing, and
exactly,
it's awesome. It really is. That's so cool. I love Tom. Tom's the greatest.
So he is astounding. Like his music, his voice is still like, as a fan, it just blows me away.
And he puts everything into. He doesn't just like show up and like, all right, let's get on stage. Like, I mean, on the bus, he's warming up before. He does the show. He cools down after. I mean, he's got a whole bunch of history, but you'll hear him like, in the back. I'll never forget the first time I toured with him. I was like, I'm like looking around like, what's happening? But, you could hear him in the back lounge like, he's just doing all these warm-ups. I'm like, all right. That's awesome.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, I love that your story has so much to do with Tom, and like I feel like that's how I kind of knew who you were, is because like I was following all of his stuff, and I was like, well, what is he like? Like, what should I be aware of, like, when I go to the show? And like, just as a fan,
your research. I love it. I know you like. I know that you like are someone that goes and like observe, like, what's the room look like? What do they like? That's preparing yourself is
big
key.
part.
Even if you're going, it's a huge part of it. Like when I did the dates, when I locked in those dates with Kiss in August of last year, like, especially when you're doing video, like there's you have to kind of know the moment. You
have to know everything when about you're doing, the show.
Yeah, when you're not getting the luxury of being on a full tour where you're like, I'll get it. I'll study it, but I'm gonna figure it out as I go. Like when they say, all right, we're gonna hire you, and you have 3 dates to do this. You don't just show up and be like, all right, record, like let's figure it out. Not for a show like that. There's so much going on.
Yeah.
Listen, when I tell you that I watched that show, every YouTube video that was up, every live stream, everything. That when I got there, I knew when Gene Simmons was gonna sweat off of the right side of his face, and then when it was gonna, like, I was that locked into being like, all right, go to the soundboard. This is gonna look good for the soundboard. All right, let's make our way all the way up to the top and get like a cool wide shot up there. All right, let's get back over here. There's gonna be a solo. Like I had that like locked in completely, and it just you prepare for. I prepared for months for that to get to those shows and be able to lock in those, 3 shows. But from that, you see it again, you go above and beyond to be fully prepared for something. They called me back out to do more shows in February. So it just makes you feel like, well, all right, you must have liked what I did. So it shows going above and beyond, it opens more doors.
Yeah, definitely. And I've talked a little bit about that on my YouTube channel where I talk about how you prepare for a show and everything.
Yeah,
and it goes
I saw those,
like, oh, thanks. Yay, someone's watching my videos.
Of course, girl, come
on. But also, like, just even being at a show and knowing, like, oh, that's where Gene is going to be. That's where Paul's going to be. Like, just knowing where people are going to be set up on stage, like, what the stage is like, what the venue is like you were saying, like, accessing the soundboard, finding a way upstairs, like just being aware of all of that and knowing your options. It's like that thing on the plane that's like, be aware of all of your exits when you're like flying on a plane. You got to be aware of all your shots in the room.
I'm already like, I mean, part of my whole story and journey beyond music, I got held up when I was 16. So like exits and like awareness when you go through something like that at that level, like your awareness is like crazy. So when you talk about the exit times, I'm like, all right, I'll sit in a restaurant. I was like, I already know where I'm gonna skate, baby. I already know, because as soon as I sit down, and it's just something that it happens. Like you walking around, like I won't like walk around, outside or anything. I'm like, I'm scanning. So, yeah, I mean, that's a whole other story of overcoming an anxiety, but, everything you do in life, it's just kind of preparing you for something.
Leads you to the next thing.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm looking at my questions.
I just hit you with that, like, well, I got held up when I was 17. You're like, should we go there, or should we just keep going?
It's
quarantine, girl. I got all time.
It's so interesting that like you say that, because like I've talked about and like always want to talk about like safety as like a photographer and just as a person. Like I talk about it a lot with like my friends.
Yeah.
Like I'm a weirdo. I carry a knife with me almost everywhere that I go because it makes me feel safe, and like it's weird to other people, but I'm like, this is what I do. Like I haven't had
go ahead.
I haven't had anything like bad happen to me. Yeah, knock on wood. But at the same time, it's like, this is what I do to like make myself feel safe. And like
I love that.
When you're like a photographer or just even a woman in general walking around, like you have to be aware of things. And it's just like I've talked about
when you're a woman with a lot of gear and a lot of money in her hands. I mean, if I'll be at a show and I have to, park somewhere, sketch or something, I don't care going to the venue and being like, yo, you got like a bar back or bartender, someone who can walk me to my car. Like, there's a lot of stuff here. Like, I'll do that sometimes if I feel uneasy, but like you said, it's just something that, who cares? Like, sure, yo, you doing anything? What's up? Come walk me to my car. Like, I don't care. I don't know how much money I'm walking with. You can never be too prepared for that stuff. And, I like that you say that in any case, not just photography. As a woman, you have to be aware of your surroundings. And you see, if I'm out and I'll just be, watching people with their phones and, a little drunk or loopy, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, honey, like, put your stuff away.
I know.
The world's crazy. Come on.
Yeah. And it's nice that you like say that like seriously, that anyone will walk home with you. Like you can go up to like anyone and be like, hey, can you walk me? Like, can you
like, hey, my car's parked X amount, whatever, a couple blocks away. Like, do you have anyone on staff that can, I just shot the show, or I'm doing this. There's also another thing that I got since I was on tour is an app called let's see, it's called Noonlight. And it's like an alarm. So if I'm walking somewhere or like on tour, if we're at a hotel and our buses are parked like a little bit a ways and it's, midnight, and I'm like, oh crap, I forgot a hard drive, I forgot something. And you're walking at night in the middle of Arkansas. This to me, you press it, like if you're uneasy, it's like an alarm and it'll alert the police. God forbid something happens. I've never had to use it, but it eases my mind a bit. Yeah, because I don't know where I'm at. I don't know what kind of weirdos are out here. So I'm just sense of walking and you have that. These are just things that for me it eases my mind just because of the shit I've gone through. I'm just always aware of the world's not all rainbows and butterflies as much as people want to think and believe. You have to be absolutely aware of everything, man. It's wild. It's wild life out there, like, how do I hang this call up?
No, I'm gonna actually jump to another question because like I feel like this is very much tied to like kind of the idea that, how do I say this, like sexism and like prejudices and like worries in the industry. Like I know that our job is very nice. Like being a photographer has so many like perks. It's so nice to like be on, like to go on tour and be around these people, and it's so much fun. But I do think with like any job, there's negative things about it.
Oh, of course.
So so I wanted to talk a little bit about like, are there any like concerns that you had? I know that you just talked about like walking around on tour, like that's a concern and like something to be like aware of, like when you're alone doing these activities. But like, have you ever experienced any sort of like prejudices or like sexism or something in the industry due to just existing, I guess?
How much time we got? Part 3? Here we go.
We got so much time.
Oh man, that question alone, I mean, it can carry from not even just our world. It happens all over. It happens, obviously in the male-dominated fields like music and film and all that stuff. That stuff is happening. It happens. It's not something that's, you have to be absolutely aware of it. You have to know. I guess in a way for me, I have just always, like we went back and talked about it, this was never about being a rock star, being around rock stars or all of that. my purpose has always been to do and feel what I love and what my purpose was. Do you see a lot of people that get into this for other reasons? Absolutely, you do. It's out there, and people will, you know, do whatever they want to do. I am not in control of what anyone else does. I just feel that something that I carried and I learned early, and I always like hold with me, and it might be why I've gotten opportunities that I have had. It's because I value respect. You respect me, I respect you. That is how things are going to work out here. I'm not here to go hang out with you in the back of the bus so that you can give me a photo pass or something that is so, it's so real out there. And I never wanted to be known for that. I never wanted to be the photographer that, you know, does this, and that. For me, it's about, like, you know, like I said, you do, and you carry yourself in a way where people aren't going to cross that line with you unless you allow it. If you want to allow people to disrespect you, then you know what, it's going to keep happening, and it's going to keep going, and that's something that you have to go through to overcome and learn. I wanted to make connections. I wanted to make friends out here. I wanted to have my work and what I bring to the table be of value to the artists that I work with, the managers, the agents, the labels, everyone. And so is it hard sometimes when people will try and belittle you and be like, "Whoa, well, good luck getting you know, work out here unless you're dating, you know what I mean, the rock stars, or girls don't tour, you'll never be on the road, people don't like women on the road, oh, looking like that, you're not going to get on the road." Like all this stuff where I was like, wait, what? Like at first it hurts because you're like, what do you mean? Like, should I not look like this? Like you start to feel bad and like uncomfortable, and then you're like, oh, wait a minute. Absolutely not. All this work, all this time, all of these things that I've overcome to be who I am, I will never change who I am, how I look, what I do, what I wear for a job, for a person, for anyone. Like if you want to take me as I am, then this is who I am, and I'm never going to change that or be someone else. With that being said, do I like to get ready? Do I like nice clothes? Do I like, yes, absolutely. I'm also a hairstylist. This is something that, plus I'm Latina, so you see your mom getting ready every day before she goes to work growing up, it stays with you. So just all these things, it's who I am. And I love who I am. But I also know that being out on the road around men, around married men, around a lot of dudes, I'm not going to show up and, you know, it requires a different part of me, a different version of me. Not saying that I'm anyone different. I'm just, I have my hats on. I have my, you know, I'm there to work. I'm there to present myself and work and be respectful of the people that I'm around. When I'm on a tour bus with, 3-4 men who are married, who are older, I'm not going to walk in with little shorts and, you know, what I would wear if I'm at my own home in Chicago. I'm respectful of the space that I'm in. And that's something that you can, you know, it has to do with how you want to be taken out here in this industry. You want, you know, for a while I had bright red hair. I would show up with spikes. I had platform heels, and I thought that, you know, I'm a rocker, I'm going to do this. I learned the hard way. You're a distraction like that. Like I would show up to shows to shoot like that. And the more that you grow and you realize what works and what doesn't work, you find, you know, what is good and what works for you. Yeah. My story, that's what has been working for me. Everyone has their own story, but everything has to do with who you are and how you want to be treated out here. Yeah. Are some people out there going to encounter experiences that maybe they shouldn't have been in? Maybe, possibly, but your reaction to them is what should, you know, is what will carry you along or not carry you along. I can, you know, you want to go out there, you want to party and drink and do this and hang out with the bands, and you do that, but you have to know that people out here are watching. You might not think someone's watching or observing. It matters. And at whatever level you want to get to, it'll require to walk away from those things and to know that this is your career. This is what you want. This is what you want to continue to carry forward. So you make those decisions based off of that. You want to hang out and party? Cool. You good? Yeah. That's awesome. But through everything that I've been through, I've learned, like, maybe I shouldn't hang out, and I should just go home and edit. I should do this. I have to let go of this being fun and this being my job.
Yeah.
And that's a little bit of more rambling, but I get asked a lot, and I'll get asked for advice, and I'll be so happy. I'll say the same thing, like, listen, respect yourself, and don't let anyone cross the line. You put your foot down there and watch, no one will do it again. Yeah. And then I'll see these girls, these young ladies that I spew all this knowledge to, and they just go back to the whole fun hang, and it's like, I'm not gonna, your decisions at the end of the day. Like, you're you, I'm me.
Yeah.
It's the only way that I don't look at it anymore. I don't think about that anymore. I just do what I show up, I work, I'm kind, I'm considerate, and I know the energy that I'm bringing. I know who I am, and from there, it's like, I don't care if I'm a guy, a girl, pink, white, Mexican, what, I take none of that. I don't take any of that into consideration. I'm here to do this job. Here's a job well done. You like it? Great. I'll see you later.
Yeah, and it's all about professionalism. Like,
it is.
Like, everything, I'm getting tangled up in my cords while trying to talk with my hands, but like, everything is about like how you present yourself, how, like, we are here for a job. Like, if you're being professional and you're getting your work done, like, nothing else matters.
Exactly.
And, like, if someone's out of line, you're like, dude, you're out of line, and you, like, if you need to, like, go tell their superior, be like, I'm not comfortable with this, like, end of story, and then, like, that handles the situation 99% of the time.
Yeah. Yeah, it takes courage, because for, like, you'll start to be like, oh, well, I don't want to say anything because they're not gonna like me, or they're not gonna want to work with me. And it's like, I learned to be like, wait, if something like that, where I feel like I'm not respected and you feel like I'm wrong, I don't want to work with you. This isn't what I want to work with. So peace out. I'll see you later. I'm gonna move on to the next thing. Like, I'm not scared of walking away from situations that make me uncomfortable and make me feel like I'm not being respected. I'm, in whatever form that may be. But it also carries on with you, because I walk into places where people have vouched for me. People have said, she's this, she's professional, she's that. I can't show up and like, you have people that look out for you, that want you to grow, so they put your name out there for you. You have to keep presenting yourself in the way that you need to be able to be around all these people. And again, it goes to saying, like, I mean, I'm sure you've seen photos of what I post on my social media of how I look when I'm working. I mean, if it was my stage, I'd be like, what's up? Let's do some Jennifer Lopez dancing or something. But it's not my stage. So my hair is in a bun. I have a hat on. I'm dressed in black. There'll be times where people will be like, wait, you were on stage? I didn't even see you. And I'm like, that's right.
Yeah, that's the point.
That's good. I'm glad you didn't see me. Like, it's not my show. If it was my show, you'd see me. But yeah, it's all of those things matter. Also, too, like, I'm high energy. I'm very outgoing. I love people. I love connecting. I love talking to people. But when I'm walking into someone's home, an example, when I first got out on the road with Tom, I didn't walk into their bus, their home, and I wasn't like, what up, guys? Oh, we're going to get photos. Let's go. I wasn't the Tammy that they know now, that can now walk on and be like, what up, guys? I knew that for like something like that, you have to ease your way into, not saying like don't be who you are, but you have to be respectful that this is their home, this is their world. You are coming on there, you are there to do this work. And then from the more and more, I don't think any of them knew that I was like goofy and funny until maybe a year of working with them. Because at this point I was kind, I was courteous, and I would be like, hey, find my little corner, edit, go into my bunk, come out in the morning, oh, can I have some coffee? Just be respectful. Oh, great, cool. And then the more you're around, oh, that guy's funny. that guy will like my funny fart jokes. That guy's chill. Maybe we can go for a walk, look at the birds. Like, you just, you start to, know there's different personalities out there. You can't, not everyone's going to get along. Some people might rub you the wrong way, and that's fine. You're just going to have to just deal with it. On the road, a lot of personalities is small spaces, so you have to be aware of who you are and how you're, if it was up to me, I'd have salsa music and would have some heavy metal, like my vibe, cool, but
you have the wind blowing in your hair when you enter the tour bus.
You walk into my bus, it goes, all right, whoosh, party time, a little glitter thing there maybe, or if I want a chill night, hello, namaste, but no, those are things that work for me. I think that in that world, it's all about respect, man. That's some. Yeah. I'm all about respect, Joe. I'm from Chicago. We love respect out here.
I love it. I feel like that, it definitely varies depending on the city that you're working in and stuff, because I feel like in LA, this is kind of like an inside joke that me and my friend have, is that people are really bad at reading the room. And that seems like a very
read the room. I love it. It's true.
It's such so I spent half of my life in Wisconsin, and people were just very aware of what's going on. You're oh, so and so's acting weird or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But when I moved to LA, not to be rude, but there are a lot of people that are kind of self-absorbed, and they
in LA.
Wait a minute. Come out of my mouth. But
really, LA? Just kidding. We love LA, but
I love LA too, and I love a lot of the people.
It's a different breed.
Yeah, and a lot of these people are my friends too. So
no, I know you're not talking. You just grow up different. You said you grew up in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Whenever I visit LA, and I'm adorable. Okay, how are you doing? And then people will kind of be like, okay, what?
Yeah,
and then
who are you?
I remember one time, one guy in an elevator, I just was talking to him, and he was like, "You're not from around here, are you?" I'm like, "No, I'm from Chicago." He's like, "That Midwest charm." He's like, "I knew it," but it's true. We have that goofy, open, and LA's very why are you looking at me? I'm sorry.
Yeah,
you look cool.
Honestly, that's why I get really nervous about introducing myself to other photographers because of that reason.
That vibe.
Yeah, and it's just it's so strange, and there was I really remember one time where Jack Liu, he was the photographer for Guns N' Roses. He was a friend of them when they first started. He's he lives in LA, and I knew who he was and knew of his work and everything when I moved out here. And then there was this one time that I saw him in the pit, and I was terrified. I was I want to introduce myself, I want to say hi, but we're in LA, he's not going to want to talk to me, blah blah blah. And then I go say hi, sweetest guy in the world.
I love
now
it.
See him all the time, and it was totally fine, but I was terrified because I was in this mindset of
your
oh my gosh, everyone's here is not going to want to talk to me, not going to want to do this or blah blah. And it's just you kind of have to get out of your own head, but also to just read the room and know what's going on. That he was totally accepting of just saying hi. I didn't distract him when there was something else going on.
I love that.
But it's just so funny
when you were oh, this could go two ways right now. I know that feeling.
It's just really funny, and the thing is I felt that way about at the show that we met at. I felt that way about going up to you. I was what if I interrupt her when she's doing something? And then there was another woman there that I wanted to introduce myself to, and I felt that way about her. I was what if I say something wrong when she was
Boston,
and it's
totally let's take a selfie. I was so excited.
It's so funny. It's so different.
I know that feeling, man. It'll eat you up, but what's the worst that can happen? They're mean to you, and you're just all right, well, your two colors just show, I don't know. I think that a hello can lead to a million things, so
totally.
Just say what's. I think that too. If you say hi to someone and they're mean to you, you're
noted.
Noted.
Exactly.
My diary will be aware of this later on tonight. And it just shows like, all right, cool. Peace.
Yeah.
I'll see you later.
And it goes back to what you were saying about like those are the people that you like don't want to work with versus want to work with. Like
you want to be around those kind of people. And there's so many different vibes out here in this field, like this competitive energy of who are you, what have you done, who do you know? And I just never, well, in the beginning, I'm not gonna lie, I mean, that shit would eat me up. I mean, I'd stay up late. Oh, why doesn't so and so like me? And why did they tell this photographer that my work sucked? And why this and why that? And for a while, it like, you know, like it consumed me, and I just hated that feeling. And then I realized, I'm like, you know what? This is not doing you any good. Like worrying about what other people think, what they think of your work. Like, cool. I don't care anymore. I think that when you have that freedom to release yourself from that and just focus on what you're doing, you end up just going to incredible places because you're locked into your own path. You're not worried what anyone else is thinking. And I don't know, it's freeing to me. I and then, you know, the people that were mean to you, you end up seeing them around again and you're like, still here, man. You know, like, sup?
Are you still a bitch?
Yeah, like, you still gonna be me? Because I'm not going nowhere. It's funny, but I laugh at that stuff. I don't think, I think that there's so many different bands and tours. I mean, well, not right now, but
in
but
general,
it's just
there normally is.
In general, there's just such a whole world out there that no one, I've come to realize no one's ever going to take anything that was meant for me.
Yeah.
Like if you worry and you sit there and you dwell on that stuff, you are going to block yourself from getting anywhere ahead.
Yeah.
You know, it really, the whole mindset is truly what sets you, either pushes you forward or keeps you there. And a lot of these people, and I observe a lot of things. I realize, like, I don't think it has anything to do with me. I think it has to do with the fact that you see me out here all the time. I'm putting in the work. I'm in my 20s and I gave up going out every night. I gave up my brunches with friends to drink. I gave up an entire social life to pursue and be so focused on getting my career ahead. And to some people that drives them nuts. I don't know why. I pray that when I am in my 40s, 50s, 60s, whatever, that if I see a 20-year-old out there hustling and powering through and doing all these incredible things, that I'm there clapping and lifting them up instead of trying to knock them down, because I know what that feels like, and that ain't fun.
Yeah.
You know?
That's why I wanted to, my light is changing here, so we gotta readjust. But that's seriously one of the reasons why I wanted to start interviewing like younger women and stuff, because I started when I was 21, and then like I know that like me personally, like I have flaws, I have judgments, and like when I was starting, I was like, what is this like young girl doing in here? Like she can't drink. She's got an X on her hand. And then like once I started making friends with people that are like actually in the industry and trying to make it, and how they were looking for someone to look up to, I was like, wow, this is a shitty person. And like recognizing like that everyone's coming from like different levels and is doing something different. Like there's no reason to be competitive, there's no reason to be judgmental. It's just a different situation. Like everyone's doing their own thing. Absolutely. That's so true. I agree with that 100%, because we've all been there. We know what it feels like. Oh, you're getting into this game at the wrong time. There's no money in this. Good luck getting on tour. You're late in the game. Oh yeah, you might be here now, but I shot so and so back in 1984 before you were even born. And I traveled with them and did it, and I'm just like, I love it. Proud of you. Cool, bro. What have you done since? Like, are you, man, this is just my mindset and how I think of growing, always going forward. I never want to be that person that sits around and sits and talks about
whatever show that the good old days. Like I'm not that person. I'm not wired that way. Am I going to talk about it and be proud of it? Yes, absolutely. We should be proud of the things that we accomplish in life. But you can't hold on to that because you are just, you need to keep growing, man. And that's the one that always drove me crazy. Is just like making you feel like you're missing out on the good days and you're never gonna make it. I used to make this amount and I was here and I did this with that and blah blah blah. It's like I cool, great, good for you. I have my own story to write and I will, but your little like belittling comments aren't gonna like stop me anymore because that's what it is. They want to make you feel like you're not gonna do anything with this and prove them wrong, and then you say, "Hello again, it's me."
Yeah. No, it's just like I know that I personally have grown a lot in the last year and two, just like talking to other people in this industry and like being aware of everything that's going on, and it's just so interesting to me like now how I react to things versus like a few years ago.
It's a growing process, and that's what I talked about earlier, and I love that you say that. Like you can't hold yourself and feel bad about, I'm not sitting here being like, I was a perfect angel. I will, like everything we go through, we either learn our lesson or, we overcome that lesson or we keep going through it until we realize that it needs a different reaction. Like you just said, you have grown so much in the last, 2 years. You're not that same Boston that was shooting 2 years ago because you've gone through things, you've gotten knowledge, you've grown. And that's beautiful because that just means that you're putting in that time to see what is working and what's not working. Yeah. But a lot of people stick to their old ways and then sit and are mad at the world because they're not ahead. Well, try doing something different. Try being nicer. Try letting go of that you and being like, all right, what's up, world? This is me 2.0 or this is me 3.0. As many times as you need to do it, do it. It's so like, it's just so important out here to do that. It's okay if you were a nice person or if you had a bad experience. You learn from that and you grow from that.
I feel like I have to tell this story because I don't know why, but like talking about this and just reminded me of this. I think this was about 2 years ago. I was at a concert where there was this older gentleman in the pit that I have not seen since, but I did see him like before this, so I knew that he was in the industry and whatnot. Who was incredibly rude to mostly the younger women in the pit.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is the reason that the younger girls were talking to him was because we were shooting a daytime festival and he had a flash on his camera. And he had the flash up and he was also like, he wasn't like,
oh wait, this was like, it was a daytime fest? Like
it was a daytime. Oh, okay. It was like 3:00 in the afternoon. Yeah. And like had this like flash like on his camera and up. So you're talking about like, 8 inches. I don't know. I can't estimate my life. But so we kept asking him, I was like, hey, can you take the flash off? Or can you flip it down? Because people were like packed in here. We can't shoot behind you. Your flash is getting in everyone's way. Blah, blah, blah.
And festivals are cramped.
Yeah, it was, and it's like one of those things that like, if you go between the amps, then like you're blocking everyone behind you. So he was going up to the stage and then you're trying to shoot over him and you're just getting this flash in it. Yeah. So I watched him 2 or 3 times, like ignore someone, like a few other times being like, I've done this for 20 years. Like I'm not going to listen to you, blah, blah, blah. I have it, whatever. And then I asked him, I was like, hey, can you take your flash off? Like, it's getting in everyone's shots. And he's like, it's not even on. And I was like, I can see that it's not even on, but you should take it off because you're not even using it and it's getting in everyone's way.
Oh my God.
And then we were shooting a Brit pit. So then we were shooting a pretty like well-known band. I think it was, it was like, I think it was like Flogging Molly or The Offspring, something that was like fairly big that like everyone's like cramming to get their pictures. And I was just over it. So I just like reached over and popped his flash down.
You did it.
And this guy,
did he get pissed? I mean,
this guy rounded on me so fast that I thought that was gonna get hit in the face. Like, not even joking, there were like 2 other guys that stepped in between him and I because they didn't know if it was gonna get physical.
Well, right.
And I was just like, I'm like, I don't want to fight. I just want his flash down. And he like screamed at me, and I was like, whatever, let's shoot the show. I was like, we'll talk about it later.
Yeah.
And he comes up afterwards. He's like screaming. He's like spitting in my face. And I was like, dude, I'm sorry that I did it. We needed the shots. Like, your flash was in the way. We asked you numerous times. And we said all of this in front of a security guard. And the security guard's just sitting there like,
how do I deal with this? Right?
Yeah, and he was like, afterwards I talked to him, he was on my side. He was like, yeah, that guy was a dick. And I was like, yeah, he was. But like, looking back at it now, I'm like, okay, I probably wouldn't have done that. Like, I wouldn't just like go over and like manhandle someone else.
Yeah.
Like, I get it.
You feel, but yeah, you processed it. It was like, well.
So
in that moment,
me,
though.
Yeah, old me was like, this is the thing that I want to do. The most interesting part was that I had numerous people afterwards, both men and women, young and old, come up to me and say, I'm so glad you did it. That guy deserved it. I'm so happy that someone stepped up. And I was just like, okay, cool. I'm so friends with a ton of people, like a ton of those people I'm still friends with now.
Yeah.
But it's like, you have to grow from those situations, I think, is like the moral of the story. I wouldn't do that now. I totally wouldn't do that now. Like,
right.
I understand that was insanely disrespectful. But like at the same time, I'm like, that was the moment. He was super disrespectful. That was what I did. But of course, it's been 2 years later. I've grown from it. We've all like, so it's just one of those things that like everyone in the industry grows. About. Yeah.
That's what it's all about. It's like you look back on moments and you're like, well, I should have not done that, or I should have handled that differently, or well, I really shouldn't have done that. But it matters more that you reflected on it, you processed it, and then you were like, I'm not doing that again. So I love that. That is what people are so like. We're all going to go through things in life that we're not proud of, that we're not happy, but it all has to do with our level of awareness and who we become. I mean, no one's out there absolutely perfect. No, we've all had situations, whether we're in the pit or we're on, doing a event or a show or something out there where we're like, yeah, don't do that again. But that's the lesson. You learn it. And if you didn't, what would have happened? You would have had another situation like that. You would have, reacted again. And then when you would have been like, ooh, that guy, this didn't work out like the first time. So, girl,
and now I've actually had a show since then where a similar thing happened. And I went to our like tour manager, the guide that was like letting us into the pit, and I was like, hey, we're not supposed to shoot flash. He's got his flash on, she's got her flash on, can we take it off so it's not in the way?
you reacted this way.
Yeah.
You're like, why didn't I do that the first time?
Like, you use your words, girl.
Yeah, right. Girl, I get it though. You're in that moment, like the show's on, you only have 3 songs, everything's happening, you're just like, shit, feisty me would be like, hey, dude, what? Just kidding. Like,
should have ripped it off and chucked it in the mosh pit.
Yeah, it's mine now.
When we were talking, I was just like thinking of that story. I was like, yeah, that was a moment. That was a good.
We all have them, but it's I personally always say like all of those setbacks and failures and times that shit didn't work out, it sucks, it like eats up at you, but you also look back and you need you need to go through all those things. Nothing out here is easy. You need to fall on your ass hundreds of times in order to get up and be like, I've done this before, I know how to do this, and you keep moving ahead forward. I think the thing that so many people do, that a lot of people starting out and are just kind of going through those big setbacks and those big failures, they just completely throw in the towel and be like, all right, this isn't for me. I'm done. I'm not going to pursue this anymore. Little do they know that magic was literally right around the corner. You were this close to the finish line. And that last big test is exactly what you needed to go through to be like, nah, she doesn't, or she or he doesn't want this. So see ya. Go sit there and cry about life and, you know, all the things that didn't work out for you instead of just powering through.
Yeah.
I could sit here and talk another part 3, 4, and 5 of all the times that I failed, all the times that I sit in my car and have no money, wake up to my bank account negative balance, asking my mom to borrow dollars to insert into my account so I wouldn't overdraft. Like all of those shitty times, like I knew that I would sit in my car, my broken down car, and I would just be like, this isn't permanent. It's never it's not always gonna feel like this. You're doing something because people aren't willing to do this. People aren't willing to walk and pursue their dreams with no route. I didn't know what route. No one has this is how it's gonna go, Tammy. Go through this and that. You're just going through it. But I just always remember, and I'll close my eyes when something, a beautiful, big opportunity that I've accomplished and that I have gone out there and done, I sit and I reflect on that and I remember those times that I would be like, this is all going to be worth it one day. Don't give up now. Your friends might think you're a loser and your parents might think that you're living some rock and roll lifestyle. Like you're not, your purpose, your why. Keep going forward. And then everything just starts to, like you heard the story, everything just starts to level out.
Go together.
And then you see like, man, I'm glad I didn't walk away when I thought that this was all over, when this person, when I screwed up this opportunity with this artist, or when this person decided I wasn't good enough, or blah, blah, blah. You have to go through those things. And no one talks about that. Everyone talks about the highlights and all the cool stuff that happens. But I've always been so real with everyone about the things that I've had to go through to get to those moments, because it's something that, I don't know, like I said, I know I get all like stumbled and I get so passionate about it, but it's because it's so important to talk about those things.
Yeah.
To see like, oh, all right, she went through this. So this little tough moment that I'm going through right now, it's not going to be forever, because, I just like to give hope to someone to know, like, I've been there. I know what it's like. I've gone through more, like, no one has it easy.
Yeah.
It's not harder for you or harder for me or harder for anyone. It's hard for every single person out there.
And everyone's heart is different.
It is. It's no one's, and that's why I say no one's story is the same. And what is meant for you is always going to be like, your path is already like aligned for you. You just have to walk it. Real quick, one little example of that. Right before I got the Poison tour, I was set to go on this other tour. Everything was lined up. They love my work. This is great. These are going to be the dates. These are rehearsals. I mean, everything. It was going to be my first full tour. With Tom, I've toured a little bit, but this was going to be my first, everything tour.
Yeah.
And I was literally prepared. I was just waiting for my flights and all that information. And then that door just slammed right in my face. And I was like, well, what happened? I thought this was a go. Oh no, they decided to go with someone else last minute, and sorry, it didn't work out. And, I ended up finding out it was because they didn't want a girl out on the road or whatever. But I remember being so like upset and like feeling defeated. I was like, man, I worked so hard. Like, this was going to be my moment. I can't believe this just happened. I was pretty much ready to go. This was going to be like a, theater club size tour. So it was, I was so excited. And I remember all those feelings, and I remember being like, you know what? Yes, let's process them. And then we're gonna feel it. We're gonna be upset, mad, whatever at it. Mm-hmm. And then we're just gonna let it go.
Yeah.
Not your time. Whoever, the dude that got this gig, that's their time. Let him have it. Let him thrive. Let him enjoy it. You step back, move on with your life. Your time will come. What happened?
You go on tour with
a month later, I'm on an airplane to go meet up and do the Poison Def Leppard tour. And I was like, this is another example of just letting the man upstairs, the universe, whatever you believe in, it's in their hands always. I was so upset about this tour and this arena tour was what
was
waiting. This is where I needed to be. And like I said, I sent good love and vibes to the person that got it. I said, you know what? That's good. One of us is out here doing the gig. Perfect. Have it. You're gonna kill it. It's gonna be great. I'm just gonna, it's not my time. I'm just gonna chill. My time came, and that is just, that just shows what happens when you don't try and be mad or, I'm better than that guy. Why would they? No, none of that. It's your reaction and your attitude towards things that will, it really makes a difference out here. And I can go on and on about the whole manifesting and all that stuff and journaling and taking that time for yourself. And that could be another, like I said, parts 10, 20
you need to have your own podcast, girl.
Oh man, I just like to share the truth, and I'm not here to sit and be like, well, let me tell you, it was August of 2019 and Kiss called and I happened to be in town. Like, no, nothing happens like that. It all stems from something and somewhere. And I'm like I said, I'm so grateful that we're doing this, because you're awesome. I love you. I love your work. I love that you're doing this. So to me, this is already just muchas gracias.
Thank you again. Thank you so much for doing this, because it's just like I said, I think that stories need to be told. And I'm not saying that this is like the world's hardest industry to be in or the most difficult job and like we're highlighting only the bad things. It's just that like everyone struggles sometimes, and I think that it's really important to like be aware
of course,
kind of what you're going through and what other people have gone through. And I just
you're right.
It's motivational too.
No, yeah. I just I could sit here and I could have. I'm just this already from what I share and post on my social media. I wasn't gonna sit here and I'm not saying like, oh my God, this is just shit and don't do this. Like I like for people to know and to fully be prepared to understand what it truly takes to get to a place that you want to be.
100%.
Why there's so many people out there that will sit and spew, go after your dreams, everything's going to be okay, life's awesome, you're the best, you're this. And it's like, it's not like that. I'm sorry. I know that I seem like I'm all like positive and unicorns and glitter over here, but the amount of like realness that it takes to look at yourself and say, you are the effing reason that you are not where you want to be because of this and this and that and this. Yeah. And the world right now thinks that I want it now. It's going to happen now. It's going to be easy. And sorry to burst the old bubble, but it's not. But my goodness, is it worth it? Yeah. I have had the most incredible experiences and moments in my life that I didn't think that would happen until years and years and years down the road. And that to me just says like you did things right, and you did it with your purpose and your passion, and everything happened because of the work that you put into yourself, your career, and eliminating toxic situations and toxic people from your life. That's another big thing. Yeah. I don't know if you've ever been around friends that are like, oh, I had friends and we would sit and I'm big on energy. I'm big on surrounding yourself around people that are going to uplift you and love you and call you out when you're not being your best self. And I would sit around girls that just wanted to drink all day or drink on Tuesdays and talk crap about people and feel sorry for their loser friend who was trying to be in the music industry. Like, oh my God, like, we know it's hard. Come to our part. Like they had the apartments, they were graduating college and they were, had everything going. And here's their little loser friend. And I just felt like this isn't the energy. These aren't the people that I need to be around right now to to fully, like, I know I'm being brutally honest, but it's the truth. If you're not around people that are talking ideas or talking goals or are uplifting each other and actually care about your well-being, that's not friendship. That is just people who want to talk about each other and feel better about themselves. And it was so lonely for so long. I felt like a loser because I had no friends. I felt like no one liked me, but I also knew that the right people were going to come into my life. And the minute that you let go of those
rude friends,
toxic energy, that feeling for you kind of energy, the minute that God goes, well, here you go, here are these people, watch them elevate your life. And it's lonely. It's so lonely out there for a while. I didn't have anyone to clap for me. My parents and I'm 100% Mexican, so my parents came here for us to have a better life. So they expected their daughter to go to college and then have a husband and kids and a white picket fence and all that. Yeah. And I'm over here like, yo, what's up? I'm gonna go be a rock and roll photographer. What's up, Dad? You cool with that? So then you have that kind of weighing on you and feeling like you're disappointing them. And then, your friends think that, they just sit and talk about their loser friend who has no money and they just feel sorry for it. And then you just start to feel alone and unsupported. And that's when you truly have to rely on yourself to be like, you got this. No, F that, F this. You're doing this for the right reason. So clap for yourself. Be happy for yourself. And in that, you learn to truly wake up in the morning and go to sleep at night and know that you are fulfilled completely. And it takes a lot of time and a lot of experiences to go through. And there's nothing better now than seeing my parents and my family be proud of me and call themselves out and be like, we used to make fun of you. Like, we used to be worried about you. And they come around. And I love to hear that, because I remember fights with my mom and dad. And I would be like, I know that you feel disappointed right now, but I'd rather you be upset with me right now than forever when I'm just sad and living life on your terms and unhappy at a job that I don't want. I'm not going to go to school to be a teacher to do that. That's not what that's not my purpose. So it's a blessing now that they support and love and are proud of me. And it took a long time, but that is all another thing you go through. I know I'm getting deep and
no, I love it.
No one talks about this stuff.
I think that there's a lot of just general self-awareness, and one thing that was really hard for me to learn, which is kind of similar to what you're talking about, but I was the rude one for a while, looking at other people and being like, why don't I have that? My work is better than them. I should have that. I should have that opportunity. That should be me. Why isn't everyone super happy for me? Those kind of thoughts.
Right.
And it took me a while to sit down and think back at it. And it was shortly before I wanted to start doing these interviews, and this is kind of what came out of it, is I sat down one day and I was like, I was really jealous of someone and envious that they were going on tour.
Right.
And I remember being very angry about it. And I was like, my work's better than theirs. Why did they get that opportunity? Blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden I just started laughing. And I was like, I have a 9-to-5 job that I love. I would never want to go on tour. I don't want to go on tour. And I literally cannot go on tour right now. I've never opened myself up to those opportunities. I've never, because I have a job that I like. So I do a day job, and then I literally have a night job where I go shoot shows, and that's how it's been. And it was just this weird awareness moment of just laughing, being like, I'm the bad person here. And since then, all of my competition towards other people has completely shut off.
Yeah.
Because I'm just no, you do you. Because I'm not going to go on tour. I'm not going to go on tour with Poison. I've never opened myself up to those opportunities.
You never
so
know.
I've never walked that line, So it's stuff like that it's
But I bet you could still close your eyes and remember that feeling in that moment of when it happened, when you're like, what am I doing?
Yeah,
it's not
exactly.
Like, this isn't okay, right?
Yeah, and like once you have kind of like the full support of yourself, you know that you're going in the right direction. Like the opinions of other people don't matter, but like also to just make sure that you're putting yourself in situations with other people that are like feeling positive and thinking the same way, instead of like silently judging you or like actually judging you out loud. Like there's just so much like awareness that you need to have, I think, it's really in yourself.
And it's tough to walk away from that because you feel like a bad person, and you feel like, well, you know, maybe they're clearly they're not aware with what is wrong with this picture, but I am. So
yeah.
I, for a while, I'm not gonna lie, I hung around and I would dread it. I would hate the way that I would feel coming home after hearing about how ugly so and so looked in this outfit, and then that girl walks in, and then they're all just like, I'm like, you guys, we're just talking about her. What is happening? And I was like, I love you guys, like, but I can't. I'm busy. And it's true though. I didn't need to go out and drink on a Sunday and be drunk all day, because that meant that it took away from going home and editing and reading and learning and working on my skills. And I was like, to please them so that they think I'm cool and I drink mimosas and all that. Like, no, I'll do that in the future on my time when I can do it, when it's appropriate. And you realize like a few of them stick around, a few of them understand, like, girl, you're busy, we get it, like, let's have coffee. Great. Doesn't have to be revolved around drinking or partying or staying out to 3 a.m. and then feeling like shit the next day. And that it's hard, and you feel bad for a second, but then when you start feeling better and you start feeling more fulfilled and you start to appreciate more time with your family and things that are of substance, then you realize why you had to walk away from that energy. So I always say, like, you have to be aware with yourself and what you can tolerate. Am I gonna go out on a random night with my friends or with people and my sisters and have a goofy night? Absolutely, but it's not gonna be every night. It's gonna be, again, on my terms, when I think it's appropriate, and when it's not gonna roll into something that I have to do. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not sitting here being like, I have no fun, I'm a robot. It's like, no, I'm goofy, I love interacting, but a lot of, when I was first starting out, I gave up my social life, my dating life, my everything to focus on this. And, it's worth it, but it's hard because you want to be a regular 20-year-old, living it up and going on friends trips, but you also know that it'll take away from your focus and your momentum. So you got to pick your battles. It's lonely though. So that's why it's cool to have, like, you are out there and we can support each other. This is why these things matter, because you'd realize it. Everyone feels some sort of, you can connect and relate to some situations that other people have and be like, all right, I'm going to be okay. And that's why I'm being honest. I'm telling you that I love that you're doing this, because growing up and going through this, and I always said that there was never anyone that I could look to for advice or to be like, to relate to. It's not out there, and I just think it's so important to be honest, but not sugarcoat and tell everyone like, get a camera and it's gonna be awesome, because it will be awesome, but hold on tight. Hold on real tight. You can do it though. I know you can.
Yeah.
So,
This is so much like good information that like no one talks about. Yeah. Which is what we keep like saying, is like no one opens up about like, this sucks sometimes. Like your friendships are getting impacted by this career. If you want to make it like a full-time, touring career, like there's so many things that you're gonna face along the way. And again, it comes back to stories. Like, I love hearing all of this, but it's definitely, it's unique to you, but at the same time, there's going to be other people that are going through something similar and just want to hear someone that came through the other side,
Yeah, and to say, like, it's going to be okay. Like, I just, I think that I look back at all the times, like I said, that I failed, or that something happened that and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I should have reacted better, like those things that come to your head right away. And I swear to you, when I tell you, I mean, even as far as back when I was younger, and all the shit that I overcame then, like all of those things, as hard as they were to go through, as much as you cry, as much as you you think that it's the end of the world, all of those moments are shaping you to be the person that you are. So I would never take them back and say, I wish that didn't happen to me, or I wish this didn't happen, because it somehow allowed me to pivot and continue on my path and continue to add layers of the person that I am. Like, I didn't just wake up and was like this, like I said, this person who knows how to take great photos and is looking and has the freaking work ethic of a maniac. Everything, it adds layers to your life, character building, strength, like all of that stuff is just, it's so important. And I tell people, like, use those shitty moments, those failures, like that inspire and drive you. You overcame something like that. You overcame this situation. It all adds up, and it's all creating you to be the person that you are today. So there's a lot that goes into this whole experience of life. And I'm not just sitting here talking about photography. It's like, who you want to be is like, it's just, I don't know. I can't even put it into words of what I'm trying to like express, but it's just be okay with what you've gone through, and be okay with like letting it be a part of you. You can't put something and try and block it out of your life, because that's just going to cause delays and some real hurt later on. Process those things, feel them, and let that become part of your story. It's part of your story. I'm sorry. I don't know if you have it worse, hard. We all have our own story, and we all have our own things that we go through. And at the end of the day, it's yours. And you either are going to rise from it, or you're going to hurt and feel sad and not put in the work that you need to overcome it. And it's this whole thing is just, it's not even about photography now. We're talking about life. It's in itself. It's not easy. We're all gonna go forward, and right now we're facing some weird, uncertain times. I refuse to let that make me scared about the future. I am living in the present moment and doing what I can to come out of this better. So we just got to keep rolling.
Yeah, I think a lot of like what we've been talking about is just like self-reflecting on like who you are and what you want to do. Like where do you want to be in life, and how do you do things to get there? And that's how you succeed at a career. If you want to be a concert photographer, you got to reflect back on yourself, see where you are and what you can do to grow. And then like every time you grow, you reflect back on it, and then you do it again.
That is like the key. The Tammy that got promo photos done for a local band had a different set of goals than the one that I am now, because you have to, like you said, we've both been talking back and forth about this, you have to continue to see what more you need to do, what you need to let go of, what you need to overcome. And it's beautiful to know that you love yourself enough. Not beautiful, I mean, it's hard as shit, but it's a good feeling to know that you love yourself enough to be like, you gotta do better at this, or you can't let these kinds of situations get you. You have to learn to say no. You have to learn to stop taking on so much work because you think that people don't want to work with you. Like, at your time, at your pace, do it. So yeah, man, I love this. This is great. We're getting deep here.
I literally put my phone away. I was like, these questions, like,
I know, right?
Whatever. It doesn't matter anymore.
we should do a little teaser reel where you're just like, just ask me the questions. All right, interview over. Just kidding. You got 12 hours.
Okay, well, I do want to ask one thing that is on my list that I normally close out all of my interviews with, is just like, if you had one piece of advice to give to someone starting out, someone new in the industry, someone who's struggling, what would it be?
It's what I've been
saying this whole time.
No, for real. It has listen, there are books, there are YouTube videos, you have everything in your little hands to learn about this art form of photography. No one, no one's gonna hold your hand and tell you to work on yourself and to be honest with yourself and to give yourself enough honesty to call yourself out on bullshit and to call yourself out on what you need to do to get to where you want to be. I mean, I clearly this is all I'm like trying to like punch into people's faces because no one thinks that that's important. People think that it's about, yeah, sure, yes, obviously your talent has so much to do with all of this, but it's who you are as a person. It's who you are. It's how you're presenting yourself to the world. Like that, my biggest piece of advice is to, open up some books and soak in that knowledge, soak in that, that whole like path of personal development. If I can tell anyone to start looking into it's that, and be patient with yourself and be kind enough with yourself to say, yo, this is gonna hurt, but I'm doing this for you. I'm doing this because I love you enough to say, you sitting around drinking beers all day, eating like shit, feeling like you're disgusting and not going anywhere, like all of those things. Like I went through all of that. One day I'll never forget, I was eating McDonald's and I was just like bigger and I just felt like shit. And I was like, what am I doing? Like this, I feel like shit. So I am naturally going out there and presenting myself like, just like upset and because I'm not comfortable in the way that I look and all that. I literally threw away that McDonald's bag, drove my ass to a gym and started working out that day. I didn't wait until tomorrow. I didn't wait until next week or after my best friend's wedding or any of that stuff. I did it that moment. So it starts now. Like someone could be watching right now and I was like, yeah, I'm going to start doing this. I'm going to get jazzed up. And then as soon as they stop watching this, they're like, oh, but there's a new episode of Tiger King, so I'm just gonna watch that instead. No, like do it. Start. Just that is my biggest advice. The photography, you'll get better at that. The more you do it, that's gonna happen. You're gonna get better. If you don't think your work's where it needs to be, it'll get better. You'll get better. Be patient.
It's funny, like you find your passions and stuff and it just kind of like sticks with you. And I love shooting shows. I really do. But at the same time, like this has been more like fun and rewarding for me.
It opens up your, I love that because you do things and you don't think that they're gonna make you feel when you're like, oh, I really enjoyed that fulfilled me in a different way that I'm not used to, right? Like I love that you say that because you never know, man. Like life is weird. Like I also do corporate and event photography. Why did I do that? Because for years music didn't want me. They were like, no. I kept trying. No, it's not happening. I was like, well, I came too far to stop, so I'm gonna find something that this is when I started really breaking out of my shell. And well, actually, this is funny, real quick, right? I wanted to work on networking. I wanted to work on, a firm handshake, even though, all that work is going to be gone now because of
coronavirus was killing the handshake.
Before coronavirus, I would find networking events that I had no business being in downtown Chicago. I'm talking about real estate networking events and corporate events, because I said, what situation can I put myself in that will make me feel the most uncomfortable and help me grow? And I was like, real estate it is, because I could say, well, I'm not in real estate, but I am a photographer. So, if you ever need, so that's how I was like, that's how I'll open up the conversation.
Okay.
So went to a few of them and I was like, oh, hi, here's my card. My name's Tammy. I'm a photographer. And they're all right. So uncomfortable. I'm like sweating. Oh God, this sucks. Do it again. Went back the next time. I kept going back to these corporate events and I just started handing out my card. And like I said, with anything, hey, how are you. So my name's Tammy. I'm actually not in real estate. I'm a photographer. So just out here if you ever need any, locked eye contact, nice posture, professional, like if you ever need any, any headshots, any like photos of the locations that you guys have, here's my card, let me know, blah, blah, blah. And from going out there just to practice that, I ended up getting gigs and work in that corporate world.
Yeah.
So, and then a lot of those guys that I met along the way, or the companies started hiring me out for like their event stuff. So that's another thing that I beautifully balance with my music stuff. So it's not, you have to find different ways out here to get creative. Doing all that is something that I am so glad I have, because I have the best of both worlds. I've been working with, do you know the app Poshmark?
Yeah.
So I've been with Poshmark for years, and they have been just unbelievable with having me come out, do all of their networking events, and they fly me all over. I'm forever grateful for like that opportunity. That's a whole other fun story of how that came about. But that's just something that I do. If I'm not out on the road, if I'm not doing music stuff, then I am out here in Chicago. I'm doing event work. I'm doing nonprofits. I am doing corporate headshots. I'm staying busy, and I'm learning how to beautifully, like I said, marry those two gigs. And, sometimes I have to wear a nice pantsuit and put my hair in a bun and say, you guys, can I get a photo? Blah, blah, blah. And sometimes I'm a ninja running around, and I love both of them. I love it. It works.
That's so funny. You do so much, and like I said, I appreciate you coming on here and talking so much about it, because it's just so nice to have a different perspective of like how you made how you have like formed your whole business, how you do everything. And I think that's such valuable insight to give to people. So I appreciate it.
Well, I'm here for it.
Okay, we have talked so much. This has been so great. Like seriously, this has been so much insight about like literally everything, like life, just like everything. So I want to say thank you again for being on here. Can you really quick shout out where everyone can find your work and your social media?
Yes, absolutely. It's at Tammy Vega _ and then my website is just tammyvega.com, and then also Facebook, just Tammy Vega.
Well, I'm super happy again to
cut me off now.
Here.
Just end it now.
But...
All right, bye.
Okay, bye guys. Thank you.
I'll keep talking. Mwah.